Okay, so we've been discussing how there are two ways to look at our generation and the way we learn Torah and the revelations that are with Torah. So we said that there's one way to look at it is that the generations are going and getting less and weaker and a lower and lower level, and therefore we need more revelation. So when you think about, what's in the Torah needs to be further explained, and that's in the Navi, and then that has to be further explained, and further Bnei Israel are not following the way of Hashem exactly, the Nevi'im have to come and give them a rebuke. We had the Mishnah, which was oral Torah, which had to be written because they were forgetting it. And then that wasn't enough, so they had to give them the Gemara, etc. We can see it as each generation goes by that we are getting less and therefore it's less. However, we said the other way of looking at it is that we are actually getting closer to Mashiach, and therefore we are getting revelations that are actually on a higher level to prepare us. And we look at the advantages of Darabanan over Daraisa. And then last week we looked at the advantages of a minhag over even Darabanan. And we were saying, we ended up that the idea is that minhagim are so great that there's a certain kayach that's hidden in a minhag, and it can't be written. It's not in Torah. It's not in Divrei Chachamim, and because there are certain things that are they're so high, they're so elevated that they can only be revealed through minhagim. So that's where we stopped last week, and we're going to continue now from this little section. We're going to finish off this area of minhagim, what the greatness of minhagim are, and then we're going to go on to understanding how the minhagim are connected to Bias Mashiach. Okay, so I'm going to start, and then Levi, I will hand over to you. Okay. So the Signa Hagdar Shel Torah Chasidus, and the way that Torah Chasidus explains it, calling Yanim Elu, all of these things, the depth of our love for Hashem, this feeling very clearly that Hashem chose us, and that we stand out and that we're different, which we said was a very key part of minhagim, right? That make us stand apart from others. I'm going to try to. I don't want that. I want the marker. Where's my little marker thing? I don't know. Here we are. Not that either. Oops. Not sure what's going on with my thingy. Oh, this thingy. Okay. So this hakesher nitzchi imakadosh baruch hu, this eternal connection that we have with Hashem, which is really a munah that's above seichel. It doesn't come from understanding. It comes from a much deeper place. These are kshurim in bechinas hayichidish b'nefesh, and they really connect. They connect to this yichida in our neshama. We mentioned last week that we see that with everything unfolding, that the yichida of Yidden everywhere are being touched, and everyone wanting to do something about the situation. That's this yichida being affected. We talk about this tremendous level of the Ratzon of Hashem that's too higher from being able to be drawn down into Ksav and into Tzir. So in other words, it's so high that it can't be written down. And that's why we don't find it in Torah B'Ksav and we don't find it in Torah B'Peh. And these things that are Maila from being able to be drawn down B'Ksav or in Tzir are the things that are Miskala B'Minyan Minhagi Yisrael. These are the things that end up getting revealed through our customs. Move on. That means when we say something is too high and it can't be drawn down into writing or into any sort of form, we're talking then about this very high level of keser. So this is the level of keser where we're talking about the essence of Hashem himself that's higher than the revelation that occurs within the 10 spheres, which is how everything is drawn down into this world. And this way we then see this connection, this emphasis of this connection between minhagim in general and Torah Chasidus. We know that Rebbe often explained that the Chasidus is actually the Yechida in Torah itself. So the idea that Torah, Chasidus is the Yechida of Torah, and therefore through the Yechida of Torah, the Yechida of Bnei Israel is revealed, and that connects us to the Yechida of the Eibishter of the world. And this expresses itself in a very special way through minhagim. כי סייד יקרי בדוגמה של מנהג ישראל של אמירס מיידעני. And we can see this very clearly. It's emphasized by the Rebbe. When the Rebbe wanted to explain, what is the essence of Chassidus, in the very famous pamphlet, really, it's very small, the kuntras of a Yonah Torah Chassidus, the Rebbe uses as a very fundamental example the minhag to say Maidani. Because when you contemplate the meaning of this minhag of saying Maidani even before we wash Nagavasar, even before we're tar, this really explaining that minhag reflects the whole idea of Chassidus. So again, based on this, we could say Shekevin Sheminhag Yisrael Kroivim B'Tarknam L'Inyan Shel Torah Chassidus. L'chein Hem Gam Kroivim B'Zman Hiskalusam Sheminhag Yisrael Niskalu B'Daras Ha'achronim B'Smichos L'Iskalus Torah Chassidus. Therefore, you could say, since minhagim in their essence, in their content, are very similar to what Torah Chassidus is all about, therefore they're also very close in time to the revelation of all of these minhagim, because the minhagim generally have been revealed. Most of the minhagim that we have come about in the later generations, close to the revelation of Torah Chassidus. L'chein, therefore, Gam b'Torah Chassidus b'chlal, b'Torah shel Rebbe b'frat, mafli b'gadol inyanim shel minhag Yisrael kanal, v'sham l'geish miyuchad l'vayil or l'hamik davke b'mashmosim shel inyanim she'enim ela minhag, te'chad gashas ma'alasim ha'miyuchedes. So, for example, what do we see in Torah Chassidus, and especially in the Rebbe's Torah, we see a tremendous amount of emphasis on minhagim, and a specific emphasis also to explore and to explain the depth of the meaning of the minhagim that we have, of things that are just minhag, but the Rebbe takes a lot, focuses on it. And an example of this is, for example, the special emphasis that the Rebbe gave to the names of the Parshias and the meaning of the names of the Parshias. That the names that we give of the Parshias, that it comes from Minhag Yisrael. Or, for example, the Rebbe's particular explanation of why we don't say Tachnun, the Minhag is not to say Tachnun in the month of Nisan. And Amir's Karbanas and Nesim, B'Yobei Yom HaRishanim. And again, the minhag to say the Karbanos on the Nesim of the first 12 days of the month of Nisan. Minhag Chavitas HaRabba by Shana Rabbah. Again, the Rebbe taking time to explain the minhag of taking the 5 Aravas that we do on Hashanah Rabbah when we clap Hashanahs. Uchayina Rabbas. We have many examples of this. So anyone who really pays attention and looks at the Rebbe's Torah, we see that there's so many of them. We can't really go and list them all, where the Rebbe really spends and emphasizes explaining these minhagim and why they're so important and how what we learn from these special minhagim. So now that we understand that, again, a minhag, something that comes in these later generations, is really connected to Yechida, and that can help us understand why we see how people are very much touched by minhagim, that minhagim are the things that people tend to remember. When they're older, they remember the customs that their families had when they were young, because minhag has this very important element to it that's even higher than the halachas of Derasa Durabanan. It reveals something very special and really touches the Yechida. So, understanding this, now let's move on to the next part then. So, what is this connection between Minhag Yisrael and Bias Mashiach? Okay, Liba, please.
Okay, מנהגי ישראל וביאת המשיח. ובפרטיות יותר, נתבאר לאל שבהתגלות תורת החסידות בית עניינים. So we explained that before that the way the Chassidus revealed is 2 עניונים. First one, נתינת כוח לישראל להחזיק מעמד בחושך כפול ומכופל של סוף זמן הגלות, הכוח של היחידה שלמעלה מכל ההגבלות. So it gives us strength to hold up in the darkness of Golus, and the strength comes from the יחידה, that it's higher than any limitations. ועוד ועיקר, שתורת החסידות, יחידה שבתורה, היא הכנה להתגלות נשמת משיח, בחינת יחידה הכללית שבישראל. And more than that, the Chassidus is the Yechida in Torah, and that's why it's the proper preparation to the revelation of the Shama of Mashiach, that he is also the Yechida Klalis of Am Yisrael. ועל דרך זה מובן, בנוגע למנהגי ישראל שנתגלו בדורות האחרונים, שיש בזה בית העניינים. א', תוקף ההתקשרות עם הקדוש ברוך הוא גם בעומק הגלות, הדרך שנתבאר לגבי אמירת מודיע אני בידיים טמאות. So the same thing also with the minhagi Israel that were revealed in the last generation. There are also those 2 points. The first thing is that it shows us the strength, the deepest of the connection of Am Yisrael with the Eibashter, even in the depth of Golos. Golos, like we explained before about Moediani, that we can say it even with the 2 mystic hands. And the second thing, הכנה לגילוי משיח, שלכן יש במנהגי ישראל במפורש ובמרומז דגש מיוחד על האמונה והציפייה וכולי לביאת המשיח. So the second thing is a preparation for the coming of Mashiach, and that's why in the minhagim there is, or it's you can see it clearly, or it's hinted that you have a special connection, a special strength, emphasis about the belief and the waiting for Mashiach. וכנ"ל בנוגע למנהג שנתגלה בדורות האחרונים להעמיד כוס של אליהו בשולחן הסדר, שכוס זו קשורה עם האמונה בביאת אליהו מבשר הגאולה. Like we explained before, that an example of that is the minhag that was revealed in the last generations to put on the kos of Eliyahu on the stable of the Seder, because this cup is connected with believing that Eliyahu will come to tell us about the Geulah. ומבאר על זה הרבי, שככל שנמצאים מאוחר יותר בעקבתא דמשיחא, קרוב יותר לגאולה, זה מאיר אצל בני ישראל ביתר שאת וביתר עוז. ולכן דווקא בדורות האחרונים נתגלה ונתפשט המנהג למזוג כוס של אליהו הנביא, אף שבדורות הקודמים לא מצאנו אודות כך בגלוי. So the Rebbe explained that as we come closer to the time of Mashiach, of the Geulah, so this inyan is, how I say, it's more emphasized by us, and that's why in the last generations we have this minhag that is going and springing more and more to pour the cup of Eliyahu Hanavi, even though that in the previous generations we didn't find that they did it. ודוגמה נוספת לזה, שבספר הפרדס לרש"י,
they did it so publicly, so people I'm sure did it, but it wasn't as publicized, it wasn't as well known. Now everybody does. Yeah.
ודוגמה נוספת לזה, שבספר הפרדס לרש"י כתוב שכאשר מתאספים בבית הכנסת ורוצים לדעת אם ישנו כבר מניין, יש לספור את הנוכחים בפסוק ואני ברוב חסדיך, שיש בו י' תיבות. So another example is that in the Sefer it says that probably comes from Rashi, that when people are gathering in shul and they want to know if there is a minyan, so they have to count the people, not with the numbers, but with the pasuk, ואני ברוב חסדיך, that there is 10 words in this pasuk. אך בקיצור שולחן ערוך, שחובר בדורות האחרונים, נאמר, נוהגים למנותן באמירת הפסוק, הושיע את עמך, שיש בו י' תיבות. But we see that in קיצור שולחן ערוך, that it was written in the later generations. Over there he said that the minhag is to count with the pasuk Hoshea Samecha, and he has also 10 words. And the Rebbe explains about it, מבאר כך הרבי, מצד תוכן העניין דבית כנסת, מתאים יותר למנות בפסוק ואני ברוב חסדיך וגומר. אך אף על פי כן, בדורות האחרונים, דעקבתא דמשיחא, כאשר 10 מישראל מתאספים יחד, הנה לכל ראש מבקשים הם הושיע את עמך, ולכן נהוג למנות בפסוק דווקא. So the Rebbe explains that if you look from the inyan of shul, so it's more matching to say the pasuk v'ani barov chasdech, it has to do more with the shul. But even
v'ani barov chasdech, right? So shtacha ve'echal kachecha. So okay, that's a shul.
Yeah, but in the last generations of coming before Mashiach, so when 10 people are gathering together, so first of all they ask Hoshea Samecha, and that's why it's matching. It's fast. It's proper to count the people with this pasuk dafka. ועוד דוגמה, מהפרשה החמישית בספר ויקרא, שנקראת בפי הראשונים, רס"ג, רש"י ורמב"ם, בשם זאת תהיה. אך בדורות האחרונים מנהג ישראל לקרוא לה בשם מצורע, אף ששם זה מזכיר עניין בלתי רצוי. So another example, so the fifth parsha in Vayikra, so the Rishonim, like Rasag, Rashi, and Rambam, they call it זאת תהיה. But in the last generation, the minhag is to call it Metzora, even though the name reminds them of something negative. הוא מביא על כך הרבי, שעניין טהרת המצורע הוא הפיכת החושך לאור, ואמיתית העניין של התהפך חשוכה לנהורה, שהחושך גופה יהפך לאור, יהיה רק לעתיד לבוא. ולכן בדורות הראשונים, כשהיו עוד רחוקים מהגילוי דלעתיד, עוד לא קראו לפרשה בתורה בשם מצורע. אך רק היות וידעו שלעתיד לבוא יהיה החושך גופה נהפך לאור, קראו את הפרשה זאת תהיה, שלעתיד לבוא תהיה תורת המצורע. המצורע יהיה תורה. אך בדורות האחרונים נרגש כבר אצל בני ישראל העניין של משיח, לכן עושים בני ישראל גם ממצורע פרשה בתורה. So the Rebbe explained that this whole union of purifying the Matzorah, it's turning the light, the darkness into light, and the real union, how it will happen, changing the light to darkness, it will be that the darkness itself will be light. This will happen only when Mashiach comes, and that's why the first generation that they were still far away from the Mashiach, they still didn't call it Mitzvah, but because they knew that it will happen, that the darkness will change into light, that's why they call it, it will be in the future, Tihiyeh, it's the future. The future, it will be the Torah Mitzvah, but it will be a Torah, yeah? But the last generation, we're already feeling the inyan of Mashiach, and that's why we're already calling now the Mitzvah a Parsha Torah. It's already talking about the changing the darkness into light. ושלא יגילה, ומציין הרבי. ראה סדרים צדיק ח' סוף עמוד עין א', סובלי חלאים, ובפירוש רש"י שם. וכוונתו לסיפור הגמרא, שאליהו הנביא הדריך את יהושע בן לוי כיצד למצוא את משיח ולזהות אותו, על ידי זה שיראה אותו יושב בין עניים סובלי חלאים, ומפרש רש"י שאין זה סתם חולי, אלא מנוגעים בצרת, והוא נמי מנוגע שמשיח עצמו הוא מצורע. So at the end, the Rebbe writes an to look at the Sanhedrin, and it just says over there, it's coming from people who are sick. And look at the Rashi over there. So when we look there, we see that the idea, it speaks about this story in the Gemara, that Eliyahu Hanavi told Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi how to find Mashiach and how to identify him. So he said, you go and see that he's sitting between the poor people that all full of sickness. And Rashi explains that it's not just a regular sickness, but they're having tzaras. And also Mashiach has tzaras. He himself is also מצורע. ובפשטות, כוונתו בציון זה, להורות ששם הפרשה מצורע רומז לא רק לעניין הכללי של הפיכת החושך לאור לעתיד לבוא, אלא גם למשיח עצמו, שהוא עצמו מצורע. הוא מתאים לביאור בשיחה שהשם מצורע התגלה דווקא בדורות האחרונים לקראת ביאת משיח. So, the Rebbe said, simply we can explain that the Rebbe gives this to look at of the place in the Gemara, because the Rebbe wants to say that not only the name of the parsha is Mitzvah, it's a general thing of changing the darkness into light when Mashiach will come, but he also wants to emphasize that Mashiach himself, himself is Mitzvah. And it, according to the Sikha that the Rebbe explained over there, that the Mitzvah has to do with the revelation in the last generations coming close to Mashiach. שבכל דוגמאות הנ"ל, אלו רואים כנ"ל, שבמנהג ישראל שבדורות האחרונים מודגש עניין הגאולה יותר מאשר כפי שזה היה בתקופת חז"ל או רבותינו הראשונים. So we see from all those examples that in the minhag Israel in the last generations, it's more emphasized the inyan of Mashiach and Geulah more than it was in the previous times of Chazal or even our other רבאים. ומכל זה באים אנו להתגלות פנימיות התורה בכלל ותורת חסידות בפרט, בדורות האחרונים ממש של הגלות, הדורות הכי נמוכים. So from here we're coming to the revelation of the Pnimis Torah in general, especially the Chassidus, and especially in the last generation of the gods, that they're the most, the lower generations. וגם, שעיקר התגלות תורת החסידות היא במקום הכי נמוך, ביבשת אמריקה, שבחצי כדור התחתון, ששם כלל לא היה מתן תורה. It's not only the time, but also the place. So we see that the revelation of Chassidus is in the lowest place. It's in the America, that it's in the lower half size lower part of the word. Over there that we didn't have בכלל במתן תורה. וכנ"ל, דווקא בדור ובמקום הכי נמוכים, ישנה הטעימה מתורתו של משיח. So like we said before, in the lowest generation, the lowest place, over there we are tasting of the Torah of משיח. כפי שזה מתבטא גם בכך, שבתורת החסידות ישנו עיסוק מיוחד בביאור משמעותם של ימות המשיח, ועד להגדרה של ימות המשיח כתכלית ושלמות בריאת עולם הזה. And like it's also been expressed that the Chassidus is talking especially about explaining the meaning of Mashiach until the definition of Mashiach as the purpose and the completion of creation of this world. ולכן, יחד עם התגלות תורת החסידות, התגלו גם מנהגים מיוחדים שקשורים עם העניין של משיח, כי מנהג הבעל שם טוב לאכול סעודת משיח באחרון של פסח, לפי שאז מאיר הערת משיח ועוד עניינים כיוצא בזה. So that's why with the revelation of Chassidus, there were also special minhagim that connected with Mashiach were also revealed. Like, as an example is the minhag of the Baal Shem Tov to eat Seudas Mashiach in the Achron Shel Pesach, because then the light of Mashiach is revealed. And another such examples. ומובן שמאז הבעל שם טוב ואילך, הרי זה מוסיף והולך מדור לדור, ובהדגשה יתרה בדורנו זה ובתקופתנו זו, שמעלותו לנשיאות בי"א שבט תשי"א, הציב הרבי את העניין של ביאת המשיח כמטרה וכמניע של כל ענייני העבודה, ועורר והחיה את האמונה והציפייה המוחשית לבואו, ואת הזעקה והתפילה וכולי. So we see that since the Baal Shem Tov is being more and more spread from generation to generation, with special emphasis in our time, in our generation, that since the Rebbe became a Rebbe from Yud Aleph Shvat, the Rebbe put the inyan of Mashiach as what's the word?
Purpose.
The purpose and the engine.
Goal. Yeah. The end
Again,
result. Goal.
And the goal and the purpose of all Avodah, and he awakened and he made lively the believing and waiting, the physical, I say the muchashi, that you can really feel it and see it, tangible, waiting and for Mashiach, and the believing in Mashiach, and the screaming and davening for Mashiach. כולל שגם שבתקופתנו זו נתגלו מנהגים חדשים בקשר לביאת המשיח, כלשון הרבי, אודות מנהג ישראל שהולך ומתפשט ללמוד ענייני גאולה וענייני משיח, ועד לעניין הכי עיקרי של קבלת פני משיח צדקנו, וביקשו את השם אלוקיהם ודוד מלכם. So also, it's including also that in our generation there are new minhagim that are connected to the coming of Mashiach. And like the Rebbe said, that like an example of this minhag that is going and spreading more and more, learning about the inyanim of Geulah and Mashiach. And till also the another inyan that was Kabbalah, that we're accepting the Mashiach, like it says, וביקשו את השם את הדובס. ובסיום העניין, נביא בזה דוגמה לעניין בתורה, שאפשר לראות בו את כל דלת השלבים של תורה שבכתב, תורה שבעל פה, מנהג ישראל ותורת החסידות. והוא היחס לתקופת תמוז ומנחם אב, הימים בהם נחרב בית המקדש, ושמיד ממש יהפכו לששון ולשמחה בבנייתו מחדש. So now we will bring an example to finish the Inyan. We'll bring an example for something in the Inyan in the Torah that you can see in there clearly those 4 steps of Torah שבכתב, Torah שבעל פה, מנהג ישראל וחסידות, to see what each one added to the Inyan. And the Inyan is about how we look for at the time of Tammuz and Menachem Av, the days that the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, and immediately right away it will change to days of happiness when the Beit HaMikdash will be built from the beginning. בתורה שבכתב מודגש בעיקר העניין השלילי שבחודשים אלו, עניין החורבן, שבהתאם לכך בחודשים אלו ישנם צום הרביעי וצום החמישי. So in the Torah שבכתב we see mainly the negative thing that in those months, it's the thing of destruction. And that's why in the Torah we have the fast of the 4th fast and the 5th fast. אמנם, בתורה שבעל פה, התגלה בחודש מנחם אב עניין של נחמה, והוא היום טוב הגדול, ב-15 במנחם אב, שחז"ל מקשרים אותו עם יום שמחת ליבו, בניין בית המקדש שיבנה במהרה בימינו. So by the next step is Torah שבעל פה, now there we see already that Menachem Av is connected with the inyan of Nechama. And what's the Nechama? It's the 15th of Av, and Chazal say that the 15th of Av, it's the thing of marrying, it's connected with the building of the Beis HaMikdash. הוא מבואר על זה שיום טוב זה בא לאחר ובהמשך לחורבן הבית בתשעה באב, כנחמה על החורבן ותיקונו. And Chazal explaining that this 15th of Av comes after Tisha B'Av, comes after the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, because this is the nechama of the destruction and the repairing of the destruction. והנה בשון חז"ל, חודש החמישי נקרא בשם אב בלבד, ורק בדורות שלאחרי חז"ל נהגו ישראל לקרוא לחודש בשם מנחם אב, המורה על הנחמה. ומובן שקריאת שם החודש מנחם אב, יש בה מעלה יתרה מקביעת היום טוב ל-15 באב. Okay, so Chazal, so we're going now to this next step, Minhag Yisrael, that by Chazal they called it only the month of Av, but the generation after Chazal, Minhag Yisrael, they started to call it Menachem of the Nechama. Umuvan, and we understand that the name, that the fact that we're calling it Menachem of, it has an advantage over the what Chazal made the 15th of Av. כיוון שהיום טוב ל-15 באב, מורה רק שלאחר החורבן באה הנחמה. ואילו השם מנחם אב מוסיף ומדגיש שזהו עיקר עניינו של כל החודש כולו. So we see that why it's more than that, because when we speak about the 15th of Av, it shows that it emphasizes that first we have the destruction and afterwards comes the Nechama. But when we say Menachem Av, so it's adding and it's emphasizing that the main thing of the whole month is the Nechama. It comes, the Menachem comes before Av, and we speak about the whole month. כי עניין החורבן שבחודש זו, זה אינו אלא אמצעי להגיע על ידו לעניין העיקרי של הגאולה והנחמה. Because the destruction that we have in this month, it's just a way, it's a way to get to the עניין of נחמה. ועל פי המבואר לאל מובן, שדווקא בדורות היותר מאוחרים, נרגשת יותר הכוונה הפנימית של הגלות, שאינה אלא אמצעי לגאולה, עד כדי כך שכל החודש כולו נקרא על שם הנחמה. And like we explained before, that in the last generations, there is more emphasis about the inner meaning of the Geulah, that it's only to come from the Geulah, through Geulah, to come to the Geulah. And that's why we call the whole month נחמה. אך כך או כך, בכל זה מדובר רק על עניין הנחמה הבא לאחר הצער. So whatever we explain, but still, Chazal or the Minhag Yisrael, we see that we still talk about the Nechama that comes after the destruction, after that we're being sad. שלאחר שהיה עניין שלילי, מגיע עניין חיובי, ומבטל את העניין השלילי שהיה. כפי שהיום תודה 15 באב, בא לאחר 9 באב. So we see here that first comes, after we had the negative thing, so comes the positive thing, and he's nullifying the negative. Like we see that the Yom Tov of the 15th of Av is coming after Tisha B'Av. But now comes the Chassidus, ומבארת בעומק יותר, שחודשים אלו בפנימיותם הם מלכתחילה זמן חיובי. כיוון שמלכתחילה חורבן הבית בפנימיותו, אינו אלא ביטוי לאהבתו הגדולה של הקדוש ברוך הוא לישראל, כמובן בכמה מקומות בתורת החסידות. So Chassidus comes and explains in a deeper way that those months in their innerly they are from the לכתחילה they are positive thing, because the לכתחילה when we look at the inner union of the destructions, it shows us the big love of the Eibashter to Am Yisrael, like we explained it in a few places in Chassidus. ועד שבדור האחרון, שהתגלה עניין השמחה בחג הגאולה י"ב י"ג תמוז, הקודם לתחילת ענייני החורבן בי"ז תמוז, שיום טוב זה מורה על הטוב הפנימי שיש בי"ז תמוז מלכתחילה. So we see it clearly that in the last generations, the inyan of the happiness of the Chag Geulah Yud Beis Gimel Tammuz, that it comes before the Churban, before the destructions. And this Yom Tov shows us that there is the good inner thing, even in the י"ז תמוז from the beginning. וכמובן, דברים עמוקים אלו יכלו להתגלות רק בדורות האחרונים ממש, שאכן קרובים ממש לביאת המשיח ולגילוי המשמעות האמיתית של הגלות. So, of course, those deep things can be only revealed in the last generations, because then we are really close to the coming of Mashiach and the revelation of the real meaning of Golos.
Right. So this actually concludes the parak, where again we see this chapter was called the Revelation of Torah as a preparation for Mashiach, and so we've traced it right back, the Raisa, the Rabbanan, right, Chazal, Minhagim, and then Chassidus itself. And we have a little less than 20 minutes. Shall we go on to the next chapter?
What's the next chapter?
The next chapter is called Mashiach in the Parsha. So what
So it's like the same topic, kind of. I mean,
well, it's
similar.
Mashiach in the Parsha. Yeah, it shows how the Rebbe found Mashiach in every Parsha. It gives a number of examples of it. It goes through not every single Parsha, but most of the Parshas. Gives us a background of how we see the Rebbe. Like we said, that Minhag, we call the Parsha by the name, is Minhag Yisrael, and the Rebbe, and the focus of how the Rebbe finds this Mashiach within each one of them.
Sure. I mean, either we could continue, or if anyone has inspiration or anything they want to share for this time, that would also be very helpful. Sarah, how about you? Do you have any thoughts to share with us?
You're full of inspiration, Rifki. You're the writer.
I have background noise right now. Tell us what's on your mind, Sarah, Liba, Rifki, Dina, Torah, Rifki. We really want to hear everybody. Just say it, Sarah. It doesn't have to sound pretty. It's fine.
I just keep thinking the time that we're finding ourselves in, like everything we've just read. On the surface, we see Churban. On the surface, we see so much pain and tzar. We can't minimize that. But we also see a tremendous revelation, a tremendous achdus among Klal Yisrael, and a tremendous chizuk in Torah mitzvahs. So I want to tell two stories that I know from here. And please, all of you in other places, please share something from your end. So I work in a school, and one of the teachers there said to me that on her block, she has neighbors that belong to the reform school here. And she runs a Tehillim group in her house. So she has the Tehillim divided up into, a number of kapitla. So they came to her and they said, when everything happened right after Sukkot, they said, we know you have these Tehillim, we really want to do something. So all the parents were having a gathering, the parents from this reform school, and we wanted to say Tehillim. So can we borrow your pack of Tehillim because we want to say Tehillim, which is like, which is, again, you see the touching of the Yechida, people want to do things. We printed 500 Neshek brochures here before Yom Tov, Neshek Chabad, and they were all given out, and we ran out of them. So literally last Friday, I printed another 500, and there was a big rally, as we have in many places, of support for Eretz Yisrael, and 250 of those Neshek brochures were already given out. There's another rally coming up, so I think maybe the rest will be going out. So that's just one thing. I know another person who teaches in another very big school here that is officially the charter is an Orthodox school, but most of the families that go there and most of the children they're not from it all. They're kind of traditional. So there's a young girl who teaches there, and she thought, based on this thing, she's gonna bring candles to her class and she's gonna offer them to the girls. And she took along 5 because she thought probably they're not gonna really want to, they might not want to do it. as soon as she mentioned, that what can we do for Eretz Yisrael, and I have candles here, and we can add more light by lighting Shabbos candles, every single girl in the class picked up their hand. So she gave it to the first 5, and she told them all that, but they can still light, but next week she'll bring more candles. So I just think that either just 2 examples, 2 little things that just came to me in the last few days, where you can see that concept. Everybody is really feeling, what can we do? So many people are putting on film. So many women want neshek brochures. They want to be able to start lighting Shabbos candles. And I think that's whatever would tell us, like when we see going around, what do we do in situations like this? We have to strengthen ourselves in Emunah and Bitachon, and in the positive things, not to focus on the negative, but to focus on the positive and bringing more light into this darkness. And it's that focus of, like we see here with Thomas, how the Rebbe always said, ultimately behind everything, there's a tremendous positivity that happens as a result, and we have to focus on that and to keep just doing more good and more light. And that light will dispel this darkness and finally bring out the tremendous ultimate light of Mashiach, the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi, and the attack will be very, very quickly.
Amen. Thank you for sharing, Sarah. Yeah, we've definitely been seeing like, just really feels like, like I saw a text. I mean, I don't remember. I don't know if it was posted, where an autistic kid who was nonverbal suddenly said to his mother, Osim tshuva. But that's really what we're seeing right now, and we never wanted it to be this way. The Rebbe never wanted it to be this way. It's horrible that it's this way, and it should, from now on, like, I mean, Hashem just has to transform everything right now. But we've definitely seen like the like awakening, teshuva awakening, and first and foremost with Avos Yisrael, with Achtas, like never before. I mean, everybody recognizes it in Eretz Yisrael, what this year has been like and what has happened within just in a split moment. Everyone just realizes how we just love each other like more than we ever realized, and just this amazing unity and Mikam place all just really just coming out, like just the Etzem and Neshama. And yeah, it's very painful that, like that we had, we wanted Mashiach to come more, how do you say, we didn't want this traumatic birth at all, but it should be right now. It should be right now. Like it has to be right now, and it is happening right now. And we just need like to speed it up, like just the Rebbe has felt this urgency all along, like the Rebbe, just now everybody's feeling this urgency. And yeah, does anyone want to share anything? Rishki, did you want to share something?
First of all, I went out towards the end. It's like my lunch break, with everybody different hours, but tremendously I see we did Shmini Atzar, so we heard we did Tillim like right away. Everybody showed up. We made our community Tillim last week, and we did Fresh Challah at the same time. And the mayor of our city showed up. I don't know. I'm sure you heard our city actually. Sandini was a lot in the news because it's a lot of terrorists there, and a lot of Jews have left. But for this evening, even some Chasari, they were scared to show up. For this evening, they all showed up, and the mayor was like crying, and he was like telling us that I'm sitting there, I'm giving this speech about Neshek, what the Rebbe says that we have to have joy. I'm telling him that too, it's going to be fine and everything. So, and they all accepted it, and he's the one that's saying like, it's crazy what's going on, and we have to. We are solidarity with you, and he's really in a state of like shock, and really with us, which shows Mamash Mashiach Tzaitin, and it was very very powerful. And we said it to him all together, and my husband then blew the shofar, and everybody's acceptance, like, and also I work with all types of people, and I do a class.
Rishki, reminded me, where are you?
I'm actually in France, in Shlucha in Saint-Denis, but I work somewhere in Paris, which actually with autistic kids, and I do a class. Last year we did Tanya, so I'm finishing up, and I have non-Jews that come to my class, put it this way. So last week, just a spur of the moment, decided we're going to do something. I just said Tillim, and they came also to say Tillim with us, and give tzedakah, and which was to see really how we should open our eyes. It's really I was looking, my daughter-in-law just gave birth about a month and a half ago, and like how the labor was so, now with the telephone, so I was on the phone with my son the whole time, and you see how I saw how much it was very painful, was long, and it was the last mamish couple minutes how she we're singing Nugunim, and how it was so tough, and then there was Baruch Hashem, the baby was born. So we see it now. It's like really, really like the moment you can't even fathom like how dark the Geulah is now, because it's right before the light. And if everybody recognizes that, we're ready. And I did make brachas of Mashiach, and people have asked me about it, and I'm gonna forward it. It was like put it on the side. I don't know if the last month somebody, like people were asking me over the summer, and then this last month was a little bit, everyone's busy with their shluchos and their yom tovim, so we should be ready, Take, with the brachas for Mashiach, and we should have emunah and bitachon, and give us
Rifki,
each
thank you
other.
for reminding me about the brachas. I think you have it in different languages, right? Did you have it in Russian?
I did. You reached out to me to do it in Russian, and I have it in French, and I have it in English, and in
Yeah, if
Hebrew.
you could send it to me again, the Russian one. Maybe we can make more
I would,
magnets, and hopefully we won't
for
have
sure,
time
we
to
should.
print them.
Exactly. As I say every time else, as she tells me it takes 2 weeks, I say, oh, forget about it. Like it's too long. But then we're seeing that we're still needing. We're doing our fresh we're doing now. I think we need to make prepare ourselves. Like it's important to do Ner Shabbos and all the 3 mitzvahs of the woman, Taras and Mishpacha, and also Challah. But it's also important to, in a positive way, how the women of the time were ready with their tambourines. I know people are, everyone has their tambourines, but we have to have with Simcha Paretz Geder, as we say. So it should really be on such a note. And wishing everybody, we should meet next time with Mashiach.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for sharing, Rifki. France needs a lot of light. The Rebbe says it's transformed, but it needs
it definitely does. Yes, that's Sicha, definitely Sicha. But actually that Sicha happened with my shver, came with a group of philosophers for the yeshiva Bernois, and the Rebbe started out his bringing and asked my shver, Uzay to Ayar Olam, and then the Rebbe started saying she sang the Marseillaise, and then he started off the Sicha with the Nitzutzim and the importance about France. So I always felt reference also to that. It was a strength. I mean, in a way, I was telling somebody at my work, someone's like, how do you keep me strong? I mean, we had like, attack on Bishavad Baruch Hashem, like was just physical, and the terrorists were found a block away from my Chabad house. So I had already all that trauma there from there. So to dealing with it with now, it's like, Hashem gave me already the tools. So, everything should go. We shouldn't have, as you say, we should be Zeicha for Mashiach to come without this, without all these the darkest side. We shouldn't see that. We should see just the light, and it could be B'karav Mamash. So
yeah, amen. I just was also feeling like lately, that when we talk about like the spiritual war, it really, really is, because the only ones that have power are Jews. Like Goyim do not have Bechir Chafshis. They don't have power. They don't. And like, I feel like, what we're davening is like, they always wanted to do evil. Nothing, that's, Utzveitz of a Sufar. But like praying for Yidden to wake up, for Yidden to make the right choices, for Yidden to stand strong. Like obviously we can't influence the government directly to make the right choices and listen to the rabbi. But we could, because, not directly, we don't have, like those political connections, but because all Yidden are one, and because we're, we just all influence each other. So we do have an effect. And the only thing we need to worry about is strengthening Yidden and Yiddishkeit and our connection with Hashem, and that will have the effect that we make, as long as we're doing what we need to do. Like, we're not afraid of our enemies. We're only the only, like it's only about ourselves, strengthening ourselves. And as long as we're strong, then we are protected like completely. It doesn't matter what other countries, that's all just like a complete puppet. And yeah, so like I don't know, it's very intense, like we can't, like the feeling of just that we can't just yeah, we like now is not a time that we could yeah, take a break or something like that. Like we just have to just go to the end, and just this has to end with Mashiach. Like, I mean, we said that a million times, but this time is the end, really, really the end. And I feel like we're the ones that have to do it also, because I feel like whoever's in Eretz Yisrael, they can't help themselves, I mean, they could, they're the ones strengthening us, but at the same time, they're inside, like they have the physical, the physical battle, and they can't, like, we're the ones, I don't know, that could maybe just see more the I don't know if I'm being clear. What I meant to say is that when someone, like, maybe I'll put it down on paper, but like my imagery was just when I was in labor and I was feeling so much pain. This was with my third, that the doula was telling me, like, your baby's coming out, we could see. And I remember, like, I could not feel the joy in that. I couldn't even, like, I felt like embarrassed and almost like, I don't know, like very uncomfortable that I don't feel excited about having a baby right now. I just want the pain to go away. So that's like just when it's like this crazy, like literally living under fire. You can't think about what's, like it's, and that's totally normal. But for us, like that doula, it's like, well, the baby's coming out, like this is not just, a pain. And maybe for us, it's easier to do that. That's what I meant. Than to just be like, just get the pain away. I can't think about, a baby being born. That's like, I don't know, it's too stressful to think past the fear and pain for a lot of people in this situation. So I feel like that's also more our part here. And we should, we're all one. So we're all like fighting equally. And maybe Dina or Rifki, Liva, do you want to say something? Share whatever's on your mind and your heart. Rifki, tell us.
I love the birth imagery, and I appreciate that you are all consistently here. Thank you, Sarah. We get to drop in and off when it's possible. And it was powerful today. I think during birth, it feels like forever. And now time feels like forever. And sometimes really just taking it one half an hour at a time is what it takes. And that's for me. And we are like not in the heart of it. So I think that it's amazing to be able to just say like, okay, this is like, this is me, how do you say, taking part, not contributing, but like being part of what this amazing thing, like I'll be able to look back and say like, during the hard times, like I'm proud of the way I showed up because I gave it my best. But sometimes it's like such little seconds at a time. Like as you're giving birth, it's like, let's do one more breath, like you can't think of like, okay, in an hour, all gonna be done. Like in an hour feels like the end of the world in middle of birth, like, so that's kind of my feelings now. It's like every day is like, it's just like taking it a little step at a time. So it's amazing to be able to, hear all your thoughts and just keep thinking like, okay, we're gonna look back at this and say like, okay, we were there, we were present. I was where Hashem wanted me to be in that moment. So yeah, thank you. You're muted.
You're mute, Rifki.
There's a couple Rifkis.
Yeah. No, thank you, Rifki. And no, I was just thinking about that part about showing up and being present, that I also remember, nothing to do with the labor, however everyone gives birth. But I do remember, like, when I was, feeling the labor, and I'm like, you know what, I wouldn't want to be that person that I see on the hallway that's just like lying in a bed and completely out of it. And like the baby will be born, but I do want to be in this process and like active, it's not just like, okay, just put me to sleep and wake me up when Mashiach comes. Like like we are, we are very much alive and feeling. And unfortunately, I feel like, Hashem, I don't accept an excuse. Like, if you had ever have to do, just give us like some painkillers, like if there's something that has to be done. Like, I mean, I was by the dentist last week. I'm like, why can't Hashem just give us, like, do whatever the work, but like just numb it and there's no pain. Like, it still can't understand why we need to feel all this, why we need to experience it, but we are awake, and we are, like you said, just showing up like one minute at a time, and just and being active partners in yeah, and pushing through. So yeah, thank you, Rifki, for sharing. I see here Hannah and Dina, would you share something, Liba? Just, I mean, our time is kind of up, but maybe just even just for a minute, just to share what's on your mind, what gives you strength. Okay, maybe they can't talk now. So just thank you, everyone, and it's happening. And there's no other option. I mean, it's not just like, Purim miracle and Pesach miracle and all the other miracles. This time it's the final, like, this is the end of history. That's what the Rebbe told us. So we're not just like, oh, we're going to have another Yom Tov, after this. Like, this is the end of history, and we're feeling it.
And we want to be on the right team, Team Mashiach. So we can go back and say, we were there. We pushed, the analogy of birth, because my daughter just gave birth a couple weeks ago. And it is, it comes to the point where you say you want painkillers, but they say it's too late. It's time to push. No time for the painkillers now, just push, right? And you feel like you just want to get out of here, but you know that you need your full concentration to get through that final stage. So may we push this baby out,
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, everyone. See you in the third Beis Hamikdash. Can't wait to see that. Just can't wait to see. I feel like all our hearts are in Eretz Yisrael. You see, I have here Eretz Yisrael map. We're making more of them. Just like our hearts are there more than ever, and just so ready to go back and like rejoice with our people, with our land, with Hashem. We're just with our Rebbe. We're just so ready. So today is a good day for that, and right now is a good hour, minute, second. So we should all see each other live.
Very soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.